now moving on to the first keynote. We are going to make you meet someone who holds one of the leading positions at a company that has hogged headlines nationally and internationally for setting a benchmark for Indian startups. Any guesses? Well, that was pretty obvious, but thank you for saying that. Flipkart it is, ladies and gentlemen. It has become world's 6th most valuable venture-backed company. Can we have a bigger round of applause for Flipkart? Thank you. And now let me call upon stage Mr. Sachin Kotangale, Director Marketplace, Flipkart. Please give him a big round of applause. Let me give his introduction. Welcome, sir. Mr. Kotangale has been associated with Flipkart.com since April this year, and he is the director for Flipkart.com Marketplace. He heads and manages the operations for Marketplace. Sachin is an IIMB alumnus and holds a BTech Chemical Engineering degree. Prior to joining Flipkart.com, Sachin was associated with Honeywell, CGE, and Y, and GE in various roles in corporate operations. Mr. Kotangale, welcome to you. Stage is all yours, ladies and gentlemen. Please give him a big round of applause.
First of all, big thank you to all of you to making it to a conference. You must have seen the number of slides and you must be thinking that, wow, this guy is going to talk so many slides. I'm not going to kind of bore you to death, but I would try to be as brief and precise in terms of what we are doing in Flipkart. So thanks a lot for a nice introduction. It's a humbling experience. And I'll start with one question here. What do Neha from Delhi and Neeta from Dibrugarh have in common? So nowadays they have started shopping online. They have started enjoying shopping online. And do you know the reason? I think that's the keynote all about for today's session. So we are going to talk about what is the winning formula in e-commerce to grab those customers and make that an enjoying experience. So if you look at any customer who is in e-commerce, they will always have a single consolidated view of your business. I can be working in one department. My colleagues will be kind of focusing on some other priorities. But when you look at the customer, they only have Flipkart.com. They go there, they check, what is the range, what is the selection, what's the capability that we have. What this means for us is that our value proposition has to be consistent. We cannot have a differential experience for the same customer in e-cart domain. And I'm going to elaborate in brief as we go down into slides. So, so essentially, what are we trying to do? So we are trying to create integrated channels for our customers, which means that we will be creating partnerships, and we will also need active participation from all of you to build that integrated channel. As mentioned earlier, in marketplace, we see there is a space for a lot of small and medium enterprise players, and our idea is to give them a platform, build the ecosystem, and grow the entire market together. So if we have to kind of go there, what exactly is our roadmap? So our roadmap has to be a mix of good quality product combined with excellent service and then emotionally connecting with the customer. I would say this is not a surprise in terms of what we need to do to kind of have that customer who is tied to you, who enjoys the experience. The most important part is execution. The most important part is execution of how we are able to build that quality product depth in your website, how you are able to make sure that your services are world-class, and at the end of the day, you know that the customer is enjoying by connecting to the customer. And there are a lot of ways that you can do all these things. Now the big question comes that if it was that easy, then why we are not having a lot of websites which are growing as big as Flipkart. So yes, e-commerce has its own set of challenges, and in terms of challenges, if you look, I mean, I have given some percentages. It's a no-brainer. The biggest challenge is in terms of product or service. So obviously, to start a retail business, if you don't have a quality product, anyways, nobody is going to come to you. But if you are in e-commerce, that quality product has to be supplemented with quality service. And then after that, you will have customer. As I said that earlier, that we are a growing internet company. So there's a lot of apprehension in terms of customer education, customer know-how of how e-commerce work. And then at the end of the day, we can attribute some bit to us also. We are learning as we are doing. And we kind of experiment and we learn and we grow and we correct ourselves. So in a whole, if you kind of look into the big challenging categories, I would call product and processes are the key for success, at least on the Flipkart side, and I would attribute it to more on the e-commerce side as well. Now, I'll go to this slide. I kind of love this slide because it sums up entire e-commerce into one simple slide, that if you have to be successful in e-commerce, what do you need to do? So the biggest and the foremost percentage that contributes the quality of e-commerce is product quality. So if you do not have a product quality, the customers are never going to come back to you. However, you must have seen that we also invest quite a lot in packaging, because packaging creates that experience with customer, that they can correlate that hey, if it's come in very nice packaging with that sticker, that the product is supposed to be a good quality product. So it's a perception, but that perception plays a huge role in terms of the quality of product itself. The second piece is order to delivery lead time. So initially when we started e-commerce, we said that when you deliver the customer product in 5 days, it's really good thing. Now we have realized that if you delay even a single day, after third day, the customer becomes unhappy. And we are seeing the future that the customer would want all the deliveries next day. And hopefully when we build the ecosystem, the customers would want the delivery on the same day. So order to delivery time does have a big impact in terms of customer satisfaction. We talked about packaging quality. The packaging quality has to be also supplemented with the catalog quality. So if you are a customer, we have seen the perception that they will browse through various e-commerce websites, although it may be same product, same pricing, but they see the depth of catalog in terms of how the product is featured, what kind of dimensions we are giving for the product, and that influences a lot in terms of buying for the customer. So we have also seen a bad catalog can also lead to a huge customer dissatisfaction. Now, the big challenge is in terms of measuring the damage which you can do to customer dissatisfaction. So here are some simple I would say numbers which talks about how many people really complain and how many people do not complain. So we at Flipkart, specifically my job is to take the cues of the 75 to 95% through the market indicators. So we have built a lot of indicators in our website and throughout the market, which tells us that what is happening with 75 to 95%. 1 to 5%, 5 to 25% is easy, but I just want to give you the extent of damage that it can do to your business. So let's assume that you have 200,000 customers who are not satisfied. Out of that, 25% will complain, and if they are complaining, you will be able to address maybe 25,000 people's complaint, 15,000 people may be mollified, and 10,000 people will be still dissatisfied that we were not able to address the complaints. What it means to business. So if You look at the 25,000 satisfied customer, they will come back. I would say 10% will drop out, 90% of people will have a repeat purchase. In 15,000 mollified customers, 6,000 will not even come back to you. In 10,000 dissatisfied customer, your retention rate will be only 10%. And then the bigger chunk is that 37,500 people will not even show up. They have not even complained to you about what they did not like. So in a nutshell, you're looking at the damage which customer dissatisfaction can do to your website. So what I want to focus and harp on is that it's very, very important in e-commerce domain to make sure that you understand the cues which are obvious, and you have systems and processes built for the cues which are not obvious. So it kind of comes back to the next question. Essentially, what can we really do to make sure that we have the satisfied customer all the time? And I'll go back to the first slide again, in terms of these are our 4 big mantras. You need to have a right packaging quality. You need to make sure that your order to delivery time is concise, and you meet the promise whatever you are committing to customer. Obviously, pricing has to be right in the marketplace, and the product quality plays a very, very big and important role. So in terms of product quality, we usually suggest people that we need to have right pricing of the product. So you may have seen, or you may also kind of experienced, if it's extremely low price for a decent product. In fact, I was in conference, I was just meeting somebody outside. They said that, hey, somebody is selling iPad at extremely low price. And that creates a level of suspicion. Am I going to get the right product or not? So the pricing of the product has to be at a level which is not too less and not too more, wherein people get that perception that the product which they are buying is the product which they are looking for. In terms of processes, the processes has to be seamlessly integrated right from the time when customer comes to your website, they shop, and then the order is delivered. If there is a disconnect between the customer platform and logistics platform, it can create huge discontentment. We have seen and observed cases wherein we tried to ship a Rakhi. It's as early as this Rakhi, and the customer wanted a specific design of Rakhi, and by mistake, since there were a lot of Rakhis, one of the seller sent something else, and it caused a lot of emotional distress with the user, saying that, hey, I wanted a specific design, why I'm getting something else for what I've asked for. So which brings down to the processes that you need to have a right controls. When I say right controls, it should not be too much, and it should not be too less. We are in e-commerce, which is a fast-paced domain. The controls have to be self-healing. The controls have to be self-sufficient so that you can drive those efficiencies in the process. And what I would call is innovation. So we are looking for innovation from all aspects, right from how are you doing cataloging, right from what kind of packaging you're doing, right from what kind of product branding which you're doing. So we keep experimenting in terms of innovation with regards to the display, with regards to the mobile experience, and you will see much more coming over the period of years. So again, I'm not going to harp on or preach that these are the guidelines which will kind of help you succeed in the e-commerce market. As I said earlier, that if your product is not unique, and if it is not supplemented with right kind of cataloging, you will still have a dissatisfied customer. I'll move to the next slide. So what does this really mean for us? So a better experience with customer is always going to strengthen your brand preference. So I'll give example of my mom. So my hometown is Nagpur, and my mom has never experienced e-commerce per se. But now, she has, become so proficient that she knows that whatever thing she cannot get in Nagpur, she will say, okay, tere flipkart.com se liya. So that's the kind of, brand preference you build when you have loyal customers, when you give, that kind of service to the customer. The second thing is, you will obviously this graph, everybody loves to have, this graph, incremental sales and, new sales from word of mouth. And, I would say Flipkart is the biggest story of word of mouth. When we started in 2007, we were extremely small company. We started selling books. One thing which we never dropped our ball was in customer experience and the service. And that helped us keeping the word of mouth throughout the country. And you are seeing that the way we are growing rapidly, not only in the original Flipkart.com, but also in marketplace. That's a big indicator in terms of our focus on processes, our focus on customer experience, our control on systems is helping us grow, the way you are seeing here. And obviously the newspapers talk about it all the time. The last thing which I would talk about is customer interaction. So I'll give example that I was talking to one customer as early as 3 o'clock in the morning today. So in terms of some issue with the product which they had. So what is very important is that you need to be available to customer. You need to empathize with them in terms of what's the issue and see what best we can do for them. So I don't know if you read in newspaper, but last time the story was we delivered a package in Kolkata to a customer in a running train. So you can imagine the person did not have any address. The person said, I'm leaving by this train. I need this product to give it to my son who is passing out from a college. And we wanted to make that experience memorable. And we made it memorable by making sure that we had a great interaction with customer, we empathized with him, and we also delivered the product which the customer was looking for. The last thing, which I would kind of harp upon is customer churn. It's a basic mantra in the market. The cost of acquiring new customer is much more than the cost of retaining the customer. And we still, and we will always believe that customer is first for Flipkart.com. Whatever it takes, we will make sure our customer is happy so that they come and they continue to have a similar experience with us. So with that, I'll have a simple request. We at marketplace.com are looking for partners and sellers to have their products on board on Flipkart.com. Let it spread to the entire country. My mom loves Chennai silk sarees, so if anybody is from Chennai silk, we'll be really happy. There are a lot of aspirations across the country, and people are wanting products which are unique to region. So I request to sellers that please talk to us. We have a kiosk, so after lunch, probably we can connect and see how we can get you onboarded on Flipkart.com. With that, I want to leave with some keynotes in terms of what are the customers saying about us. And I would say it's thanks to you as a customer, thanks to the team which we have in Flipkart.com, and thanks to the mission that we have, that customer first is our priority, and we will make sure that that experience never dies down. So with that, thanks a lot. So yeah, there is request for Q&A, so I definitely can do Q&A for 5 minutes.
The house is now open for you to ask any questions if at all. Okay, can you pass on the mic? I'll give it to you.
You had mentioned about customer dissatisfaction and about how it's very important to track the cues, the obvious and not so obvious cues on what that customer dissatisfaction is, and that you all track that very actively. Can you talk a little bit more about that? What are those cues that you all monitor?
So can you tell your name and from which company?
Yeah, Shrikant from Bangalore, from Frictionless Ventures.
So, So your question is what are things which we actively monitor, and then what are the cues which we take essentially. So things which we monitor on website is definitely customer comments. So whenever somebody is buying a product, you will see that they will rate the product. They will also give the feedback about the product. So that's more on the platform side that we keep checking what's happening. Apart from that, specifically in e-commerce side, we look for return rate. So when you know that a product is getting returned more than whatever is our specified limit, we know there is something wrong with the product. Third thing is social media. So we keep watching social media of what people are saying with regards to our product or services. So those are things which definitely give cues in terms of what is happening in the market. In terms of cues which we kind of infer, one of the cues is if we see a product sale which was growing up and all of a sudden it's tapering out of, it's dropping. It tells that there is something wrong, either with that particular category or with that product, or specifically the customers are not talking about it. So there are a lot of other things which I cannot share. Maybe we can discuss all those things in lunch. So I'll give an example in terms of the cues which I was talking about. So I had one customer who bought a pen drive from Flipkart.com. The value was 200 rupees. So and then we figured out through the algorithms which we run for indirect cues, and then we figured out that this customer is unhappy. So when I had discussion with customer, the customer said that the pen drive was not working, and so I said that we have return policy. Why didn't you return? He said I was not aware of the return policy, and then we said that, okay, no worries, we will ship the new pen drive for you, and that day that customer has become a loyal customer, and we are tracking the revenues with the customer. The customer knows that even they don't respond, somebody from Flipkart is going to come and reach out to them. So long answer to your short question.
Good morning.
Any more
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Can
Yeah.
you please pass on the mic
Yeah,
to
good
the
morning,
gentleman?
Sachin. Wonderful presentation, very useful. My name is Arvind. My question is two-part. I know some of your products, they're you ship them directly to Flipkart or your associate sellers, and then there are a lot of products that are third-party sellers. Like you mentioned possibly Chennai, so whatnot. So my question is, what is the percentage of products that you control directly versus third-party sellers? And second part of the question is, how do you control the quality of the product and the service when it comes to third-party sellers? How do you ensure that?
Sure.
Thank
So I would kind of not say third-party sellers. I mean, I'll just correct the term. We call them our partners. So WSR is also one of the sellers on Flipkart.com, and all other sellers are also sellers on Flipkart.com, as a platform. And we treat all sellers as a partner, so we don't differentiate between WSR and all others. So I just a small bit of correction there. In terms of your question, how do we make sure that we have the right level of quality and the same experience? So I'll kind of talk about the experience first and go to quality first. So the entire experience of picking the product from a seller's premise to delivering the product to customer premise is done by us. So we own the end-to-end logistics in terms of delivering the product right from seller's place to customer's place. In terms of how we are managing the quality of product, so we have a proactive way and we have a reactive way. In proactive way, we have a brand, what we call is quality regulation framework. So we define for each category, each channel, what is the regulation framework. So there will be certain criteria that go through, the product goes through those criteria. And then we figure out that this is the quality product which we will sell on Flipkart.com, and this is the quality product, not good quality product, which will not sell. So that's the proactive part. The reactive part is, in spite of the checks which we have, if we see that we are getting a lot of negative comments or reviews about a product, we run the algorithm almost on an hourly basis, and we delist those products which we are seeing is getting a negative response. So I hope I answered your question.
We can just
quick
take one more
follow-up
question.
Do you actually package
So
the
we
products
cannot,
for
if I can
third-party
just interrupt
products?
you, we're running short of time. You can take
Okay.
it offline, please.
Okay.
Thank you so much. We can take just one question. I think the gentleman in the middle. Yeah.
Mr. Sachin, I'm Ramesh from
Yeah.
Mohan Mutta Exports.
Yeah.
Just I have three curiosity. One is regarding this when you are selling through Flipkart.
Yeah.
There is already established brands which have a network of their distributor, retailers, wholesalers. So how you break that circle, and how Flipkart successful in especially getting into the branded product into your basket.
Yeah.
And number two, regarding you have mentioned that you are giving delivery. Delivery is the most important tool.
Yeah.
So delivery is maintained by your partners, or it is you have you organize a separate logistic for that.
Yeah.
And number three, how is the growth of Flipkart or this e-retailing globally, how it is shared compared to, like, I want to know about India, Africa and Europe.
Yeah.
Especially. Thank you.
So, for the growth piece, maybe we'll talk in lunch. So, in terms of, growth metrics, they're all available in, website and newspaper. So, I would say India is growing at a pace which probably nobody has seen because of, the demand which we have. So, to answer your, second question, it was with regards to logistics. So, most of our logistics is done by us. So when I say most, I would say 80 to 90% is done by us. Wherever we feel the need to use a third party as a partner, it's a very stringent criteria that we have. We use third party. Now coming back to your first question in terms of how we are able to get big brands on Flipkart.com. So personally, as I said, that it's a word of mouth growth that has happened for Flipkart.com, and the channel partners, the sellers, they have seen the value which our platform can add to them. So it's a push as well as pull both. It happens. So you can imagine that if you kind of look at the entire supply chain, and if you are able to provide a platform which gives you selection across the country, people would love to have that platform. So we use platform, we use our experience as one of the biggest selling tool to get those big brands in Flipkart.com. So I hope I answered your question.
So last question here.
No, I'm sorry, we would have to take it offline, sir. Please,
No,
we're running really short of time.
No,
Thank
just within a minute. I mean, if a dissatisfied customer,
Yeah.
but when the company is not responding, I'm not talking about Flipkart,
Yeah.
not responding, then where will we go for?
Okay. So, your question is very unique in terms of if you are a dissatisfied customer and, company is not responding. I think, the right channel for me still would be go through the company escalation, channels. So, I would at least say company who bothers about service, they are not going to leave any complaint unturned. So, they will make sure that the complaint is kind of handled and, taken care of. So the best way would be to be persistent. That would be, my request. I don't want to give that answer wherein you'll say that, go to social media, go to, consumer forum. I said that as a customer, you have an option. But if you are a customer who is complaining, that means you have some emotional bond with that particular brand. So, you're trying to express that so that the company improves, and then you're able to I would say, deal with that company better. So the channel should be the escalation in that service organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
So once again,
Kotangale.
thanks a lot for your time.
Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Kotangale, ladies and gentlemen? Before you go,